Alright, hello and welcome to another Devstream breakdown. So, we got a ton of information today that I was not expecting, and we're getting updates today on both console and on PC. On PC, we're getting the new event, and Ember, Nyx, Exhale, and Rhino are getting all their PBRs today, which is fantastic. Probably gonna have to change how all of them look, but that's probably more fun than not, so there's that. We got new information on Lunaro. They basically said it's going to be like Warframe Quidditch. Also, I don't think I spelled Quidditch right. I don't know how to spell that because it's not a real thing that I would actually know. Anyway, apparently Lunaro is going to be coming in Update 19, and we have this. So this is a thing on Steve's Twitter that is kind of a little bit of spoileries for a few things, and there's like 1 second of Lunaro here. I'm just going to play it. Yeah, not a lot there, but I think that last little tiny ADB clip gives us kind of like a glimpse into what it's gonna be. Like, it's sports ball. It definitely looks like that, which I think is gonna be pretty fun still. Based on what they said about it, I have kind of high hopes for Lunaro. It seems interesting. And the other stuff there is a War Within, which is apparently our big new update. Anyway, the big portion of this that we got is the Bourbon List, and they talked about the Bourbon List a little bit on the last, well, on Tenno Live, rather. And the big thing about it was that I thought it was kind of a jokey type thing, but they made this, and, like, they kind of went into what all of these things mean, so I kind of want to go over each one and what I like this is like things that they need to change, like problems that they know about in the game, kind of is what the bourbon list like is basically. So we're just gonna go in order. Onboarding is basically like the reason, it's the new player experience stuff, like getting new players into the game and not like confusing the shit out of them and making it just too hard to learn for new people. So that comes with like the star chart changes, making things a lot simpler, and just like overall increases to like new player experience. That new Sentinel's going to be part of that, and just making things more clear in like how the mod system works and things like that. It's just constant like how do you make players know what the fuck is happening, which is like obviously that's a pretty good #1 problem. Like, it's hard. There are some really not clear things in Warframe. It's a good first problem to have in terms of like priorities and fixing. Second is cheese pizza, and what that basically means is just instant wins and not really having to do like anything to get rewards. And what I mean by that is, like, let's say for current Kella de Thame, for example, just the one that is on Sedna, that, like, that's not really a boss, in that, like, you wind up at the arena and you shoot them one time, and, like, that's just, like, there's no engage, you just did the thing, there's, like, you're not doing anything actually. And then, like, the cheese pizza thing also kind of goes into Warframes that are, like, press one button and just win the game. Ash falls into that, like, kind of a little bit still, and Equinox, I think, also probably kind of goes into that whenever you are using Equinox. Basically just like fixing up those things and making those Warframes like more interesting, and not just like letting it be like a press 4 fest and stuff like that, which personally I know that there are people that enjoy that, like being able to press one button and watching everything on screen die is like really fun for a lot of people, but at the same time, like, for the game to be, like, engaging in, like, a bigger way, I get why they would want to kind of get rid of a lot of that stuff. And the big, like, example of, like, good times when they have done this, I think, is Nova. Nova's original state was making the game, like, actively less fun. You would press 4 and prime everything on the map instantly, and then it was just over. Like, there was nothing the enemies could do. At that time, there weren't ranged infested or anything, so if you brought Nova to any infested mission, it was just like it wasn't a game mode anymore. There was literally zero danger, as opposed to a tiny amount of danger, and it was making things really, really boring, and I kind of burned me out for a while whenever that was happening. So I can definitely see why they would want to stop that stuff. Next, we've got grinding. Obviously, this is the thing that players like complain about all the time, which is the void grind, which for me personally, I usually try and kind of make sure I don't burn myself out on, but I can definitely see how people can just get instantly just absolutely the worst burned out. And some of the fixes that they talked about for this was like with the star chart coming with like new ways to get into the void and things like that. Hopefully that will help mix up the environments that people are playing in and make it like less of a like just hard grind to get through things. And I think that will make it a lot better. Definitely being able to like do void stuff on like other planets and actually use all these tile sets would be really interesting, and I would very much like that. And in terms of the environment stuff, and they showed this a little bit on the stream by accident, with the same problem, which is refreshing the environments with more interactables. So this means that like the environmental hazards and things need to be more impactful. But with that, they also showed that they're going to be making environmental hazards a little bit more clear. So basically, Rebecca started up a mission to show off Volt's new shield, which we'll talk about in a little bit, a ways down. But what happened is that they started up the mission and the UI wasn't there for it yet, but it was a exploding ship. So basically, like, the ship was legitimately exploding. It wasn't just like kind of on fire a little bit and the enemies didn't really care. Like, shit was actually popping off. And like your mission like became like just to kind of get through the ship, which was interesting. I don't even think it was like kill all the enemies. So like having more like meaning to like if you look at a mission and go, oh okay, well it's this, but the ship's on fire and like stuff like that. That kind of stuff is good. Like just for mixing it up, like making it so like the same game mode isn't the same like every single time you play it, will definitely help with that. Dracoville, which is high XP, no effort farms. Obviously, they're okay. So like there will always be a loot cave problem, but at the same time with Draco, and like I understand why this is a problem at the same time that I like Draco, and I understand why it kind of exists. The reason that it exists is because we have so many nice shiny things that we want to level and try out. But with that, we get a mission that is really, really boring. Like, the high optimization version of Draco is probably the most boring mission in the game, and you could set a macro and just leave, because otherwise that mission literally consists of you pressing one button over and over and over until you are 4 waves, and then you leave. It's incredibly boring, and I can see why they would want to like kind of eliminate that and make things more interesting. And there's some stuff that we're going to be talking about with Forma that I think is actually going to fix a lot of this Draco problem, because it's pretty big, and just weapons in general also. More money, more boring. What that basically means is like the farther you get into the game, like you gain all of this power, and then the game gets less interesting. Because you're so powerful and you have so many things, and you like like your goals start falling off as you start achieving everything. This is actually a problem that I've run into. Shocking, I know. That there's a lot of times whenever it's like I want more reasons to just play, even if those reasons aren't like particularly good or impactful or giving me new powers or something. And they gave examples like your ship. Basically your ship being like, hey, what's this? You have a Roken something or other because you went and did like this crazy super hard stuff, and like you've got like a bunch of decorations and like new things and items that other people like definitely not necessarily like they wouldn't have it if they're not like really far and like have been playing a long time. So things like that are really cool. End game goals that don't like give people who are so far in a huge advantage over newer players, which I think is really good, and would be just really nice for just extending the life of the game and making it so that like I have a just excuse to play. Because sometimes obviously I get on and I'm just playing random missions for not really any reason. Let's be real here, not really any reason, like, and it would be nice to have like some minor goals there as well. And then we have flies with chopsticks. So basically what this means is a lot of this has to do with PvP, and a lot of this is the reason for Lunaro being a thing that's going to exist, and that's that because the PvP is so fast, and it is so fast, it's definitely too fast for a lot of players, and I totally understand that. I maybe think the PvP also needs just general balance work, but that's whatever. Basically, Lunaro is like the slower alternative option for people that just kind of want to relax, but also get their PvP conclave stuff. So that's what that is. Musty Smell, basically what Musty Smell is we've had the same like enemy factions and groups for a long time, so they really want to push the sentience in and just generally add more and more interesting enemies. So that's just I don't know. That can't be bad news. So I definitely want to see that. And the Gangs of New York, for some reason, I don't know why, is basically like they stopped for a long time. Like the dojo, basically they pretty much abandoned clan stuff. So like introducing dojo improvements, more clan events and dark sectors, and the event today on PC is part of the clan events part of that. So there's that, and then also on things that they barely mentioned just a little bit, but I think is kind of interesting, for PvP they want to have kind of player-hosted dedicated servers. So basically what that means is that if your computer and your setup and your internet is all like really good, you can help them host the servers so that just like PvP connections in general would just be better. Which is obviously a fucking great idea because like if you have gotten into a bunch of PvP matches, some of them totally unplayable, completely like 300 ping, like what the fuck is happening? And it's the reason I have to set my ping limit kind of pretty low sometimes. Okay, but yeah, that's the Bourbon List. It's a lot of like problems with the game, and like it really shows that it's like they kind of know what the hell is wrong with the game. Like it's very clear, like they've been told. And like the faster those things gets fixed, that'll just be great. But yeah, it's nice that they know, like just like to have it like laid out and be like, these are the things that need to be fixed. It's really awesome. But yeah, and then obviously the Forma issues thing. Okay, so the issue with Forma, the way it is now is like it is one of the things that's like really encouraging Draco, which is not good because Draco's boring as shit and it burns people out. The fix for this is that, and just kind of in general a fix for this, is that your initial weapon rank would be equal to your mastery rank, which means that it's because I'm like, if say I'm mastery rank 20, if I go and pick up a Karak and I've never built a Karak before, I build it, I take it out of the foundry, and then it is already mastery rank 20, because as someone who is like mastery rank 10, mastery rank 20, it's like you have some experience, you have some mods, you want to be able to put your catalyst or whatever into a weapon and then like have it have like a bunch of mod points already and be able to actually take it to somewhere meaningful, as opposed to just like throwing it on your back also and just like running around with it for until it's actually useful to you. So that does like a lot. First of all, it's like mind-blowing that I had never thought of that before, because it is such a good fucking idea. It is such a good idea, and I'd never even considered the possibility that like your master rank could be like a starting rank for like weapons and items that you pick up. But it's amazing if they actually do this. It's very like, it means that I could Forma a Warframe and put most of the mods that I want in there and still be successful in missions while leveling them back up after Forma. If they were to introduce this system, like, it would just be Forma City. Like, I would have so much, like, incentive to, like, be like, okay, now I have, like, a good reason to make my frames more powerful because it doesn't take me forever to do so. I don't have to do, like, 7 runs of Draco to put 5 Forma in or whatever. It would be a lot better. And it's just in general, like, picking up a new weapon that's like, well, here's the Civair. It's rank 0. Well, rank 0, that doesn't mean anything, so let's go rank this thing to 30 before anything meaningful happens. If it started at, say, for me, like, rank 20-ish, I could actually put some mods in and be like, alright, what's, like, the baseline? What's somebody getting whenever they've got, like, just pressure point and a couple other things in here? And that stuff's really, like, useful. Like, being able to get into, like, what the hell is this weapon way faster is really nice. But yeah, that's really exciting. I think the Forma like change that they discussed is probably the most exciting thing here, which is kind of nuts. But yeah. Anyways, let's talk about the Volt rework thing. So, for the Volt rework, the Volt Shield pickup, in my passives video, I linked to that. I'll put the link in the description again if you want to see how Shield works. But we did find out that it drains energy when picked up, which is very unfortunate for your super fast builds, but I think is kind of a needed penalty, so you can't just have like an electric stun shield that you can like bolt through people with, which is kind of both ways. Otherwise, we get an ETA for like the big update with Volt Mag and all those other like Warframe like refreshes and updates and reworks and stuff. And that's going to be before the end of May. Hopefully that means like before the 15th of May, maybe? No, it probably doesn't. Unfortunately, we're probably going to have to wait a little bit for that, but it should be fun regardless. And then we got some new weapon concepts. First is the Gunblade. So this looks interesting, and the interesting thing about it is that it's not a shotgun. So I don't know how that's going to work. It'll be really neat to see what goes on with this weapon with it not being a shotgun. Like I think it's like a machine gun or something, which is really odd, and I kind of didn't expect them to go in that direction. So whenever this is done, it will definitely be a very strange, probably very interesting weapon that I'm very excited to use. And then otherwise, we got the Sime, and these are dual daggers. So the weird thing about these, though, is like they look really cool. I'll definitely say that, but dual daggers in general really need some help right now because they're not very good. Hopefully we see some changes to that whenever we get these Sai, or these Sai just end up being very good one way or another. Hopefully they're not just mastery fodder. That would be very sad. Otherwise, we've got market changes that will be coming soon. So because there's so much shit in the market, basically they're going to be like adding new stuff. They need to have like new like searches, filters, like new organization, just front end changes completely. The market is kind of, it's very fucky right now. There's some things in places that's like, why is this, does this really need to be here? Like there are quest starters in like the keys section, which like kind of makes sense but isn't very intuitive. So that being changed is going to be really nice. Also, with that, they said that prices of things may change, like how the like mod card packs may like change and be like a lower price, which would be very interesting. Otherwise, they talked about Arcwing, like new things that are like they said a lot of like potential like new shit for Arcwing that is kind of nuts. So there's gonna be some new game modes. They're gonna be retiring shitty game modes. I don't know which game modes those are. I actually like don't really mind most of the like game modes in Arcwing, actually, which is kind of surprising. But then two of the game modes that they mentioned was racing, which, I mean, people have been asking for it. What do you expect? Racing. And pursuit, which they said is basically like you'll be chasing an enemy ship, which seems really cool. And then also there's talk of like some flight model changes, and that's like giving the Arcwings like more weight and making kind of like space drifting more of a thing, which seems interesting. There was a really unfinished version of that shown on Steve's Twitter a while ago, but it wasn't really anything of substance. Otherwise, the Tennogen winners were shown. They were fucking fantastic. Those, like, whew. Like, I think the Tennogen is, like, exclusively getting better and better. Like, a lot of, like, the Nova and Frost stuff we got this time. Wow. Fucking wowzers. Like, it's pretty good. It's pretty nice. I'm gonna have to spend some money. That's what's gonna happen. But that's roughly 45 minutes in if you would like to go see that. Obviously, I don't have, like, that whole thing recorded with them walking, because it would just be 15 minutes of that. Otherwise, the ship states on the chart, this is what we talked about earlier with the like new environmental stuff from the same problem over there. This is what they showed, better environmental missions, that being more impactful. And then with this event, we get the like introduction of the new Killa Dithame. Killa Thame, I really don't like her voice. That's kind of all I have to say about her, is that I really don't like her voice, and I want to murder her. So if she's supposed to be that character, they did a great job. Otherwise, I don't really like her. She's no Tyler Rigor. But that's fine. And then let's go over the event that's coming out today. So it's the Rathum. It is 3 arena levels. It's basically PvE Conclave from what they showed. In the Killa Thame fight is there. And then there's an endurance mode. Steel Meridian will instigate this event, but then you could kind of like branch off to your own syndicates to kind of help them out one way or the other. So it's a lot today on the Devstream. I think we got a lot of really good stuff, a lot of like new information about like issues that there are in the game that they want to fix and how they want to fix them, which I think is very important. And along with that, like obviously the new event. So if at all possible, I will be streaming the new event tonight, and you should come hang out at that. I'll put it right there, that link. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.